It's been a good few days since we received the last official batch of screenshots for Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, and I've spent the last few days analysing them one by one to find out as much information from these games as possible. In the comments below, let me know what you guys are most looking forward to in these games, just judging by these screenshots. I hope you learned something new and interesting, so without any further ado, let's jump straight into this analysis. Jumping right into the beginning of this game, this is the little cutscene that occurs when you leave the moving truck when you're moving into Little Root Town at the very beginning of this game. This is the first thing that happens. And this screenshot, there isn't too much to analyse, there's not too much going on here aside from us actually leaving the moving truck, the character being a little bewildered by his surroundings and stuff like that. All I can really tell is that Little Root Town is perhaps just a little bit bigger now. May's house appears to have moved down slightly. The laboratory has also probably moved down just to make Little Root Town just a little bit bigger. To the left, you can obviously tell that it's going out to Route 101, so the actual layout of the town doesn't seem to have changed too much, but the graphics are absolutely fantastic. The cutscene for leaving the truck is probably second to none. I really can't wait to see what it looks like when it's actually in video and stuff like that. But the actual town itself, not too much to analyse other than it looks great. That's all I can really say. The next two screenshots I'm going to show you of the protagonists in their respective houses. And there's only one thing that really strikes me about these screenshots. And it's not the Wii U that's replaced the GameCube in the corner and the clock that features on the wall there. It's actually the lack of a mirror in this room. A mirror was used to hint towards character customization in the first Pokemon X and Pokemon Y trailer, and the lack of a mirror in their rooms in these screenshots is a little bit concerning to me. Maybe character customization won't be returning in these games, which would really suck, but I do think that would be a step back, and I don't see Game Freak taking a step back with these games. I think they're going to go all out. But the lack of a mirror, even though it was only used in Pokemon X and Pokemon Y to change from your pajamas into your actual adventuring outfit, yeah, it's still concerning, just the lack of a mirror. That's the only thing that really stood out to me in these screenshots. But maybe you guys think differently. Maybe you think that exclusion wasn't too big of a deal. The next two screenshots I'm going to show you guys is something that I actually discussed in my last trailer analysis video, and isn't really too big of a deal. It's just something aesthetic. It's about the starter selection screen, and we can obviously piece together what the starter selection screen is going to look like, and I'm really happy that they've retained the Professor Birch rescuing sequence, just judging by the bottom screen. So a little detail, but it's just something that I'm glad that's included. The next two screenshots I'm going to discuss with you guys is actually a pretty interesting detail. It's a comparison between two screenshots of two pretty similar parts of the game, but there's actually huge differences here. Brendan, as you can tell, is throwing his starter Pokemon into battle against the Zigzagoon that's attacking Professor Birch at the very beginning of this game. There's one minor detail that you might have missed out on, however. On his wrist, there isn't a Mega Evolution bangle. That's something that's going to play a huge part in the next screenshot, because the next screenshot is of May throwing her starter Pokemon into battle against a wild Poochyena, or it could be a Poochyena that belongs to a trainer or something. I'm not entirely too sure. She has 4 Pokemon, so you can obviously tell that it's a different part of the game, but on her left wrist is a Mega Evolution bangle. This is a very early game screenshot, just judging by the amount of Pokemon May has, as well as the wild Pokemon she's against. And having a Mega Evolution bangle this early in the game opens up the question, when are we going to receive the Mega Evolution bangle? Could it be after we take on our rival for the first time? Does Stephen Stone meet us? Or is it on Route 104? I'm not too sure. I'm going to discuss that a bit later on in this video, but that's a pretty interesting detail that you guys might have missed out on. The next screenshot I'm going to discuss with you guys is the Pokédex screen, the bottom screen of the Pokédex, and on the surface it doesn't look like there's too much really going on here. However, there's a couple of details I can pick out. On the bottom part of the screen there's a feature that enables you to view the Pokédex just like in Pokemon X and Pokemon Y, just going through 5 Pokemon at a time, making navigation a lot quicker, stuff like that. I hope that made sense. However, as you can tell, the captured Pokemon icon is the one that's actually used for Pokemon that wasn't captured natively in the Kalos region in Pokemon X and Pokemon Y. Like, of course, capturing a Pokemon in Hoenn won't be native to X and Y, I know that. However, this could mean Pokemon captured in Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire won't be retaining the little pentagon that we're used to for Pokemon captured natively in Pokemon X and Pokemon Y. I'm not too sure if that's a good detail or not. Hopefully we receive some kind of way of knowing whether a Pokemon was captured in the 6th generation in this game, but that's just a small detail I've noticed, and it's one that I don't particularly like. The next 4 screenshots I'm going to discuss with you guys was something that wasn't actually in the original Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire. This is a little cutscene of May and Brendan, the 2 protagonists, meeting on Route 102 just before Petalburg City. There's a nice little cutscene of a few Beautifly passing by, and it slowly pans out to a little view of Petalburg City. On the very right you can see the Pokemon Mart, a Pokemon Mart that's separated from the Pokemon Center, which is a huge change. The Pokemon Center and the Pokemon Mart were both merged in Generation 5 and have stayed that way since, and for convenience sake I don't think this is a good change. I think it's a bit of a step back. I think maybe they could have used boutiques to replace Pokemon Marts, but boutiques was something that was pretty much exclusive to Kalos, as the region of France, as the region of Kalos is a very fashion conscious country and region and stuff like that. You can also see your father's gym and it looks great. I like how every single building is diversified. I like how each different building, you can just tell what each building is just judging by the colours that are used and stuff like that. The thing that interests me about the cutscene on Route 104 is the fact that when May and Brendan turn around, on Brendan's left wrist you can see a Mega Evolution bangle, and this poses the question once again, how early are we going to receive the Mega Evolution bangle in Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire? This is only the 2nd route in the game, technically the 3rd as you go on Route 103 before Route 102, but how early do we get the Mega Evolution bangle? Maybe the little screenshot we saw of Steven discussing Mega Evolution and stuff like that, maybe that's on Route 103 after you take on your rival, the rival protagonist for the first time. I'm not entirely too sure when we receive the Mega Evolution bangle and the ability to Mega Evolve Pokemon and their respective stones and stuff like that, but I think we're going to get them really early, just judging by that former screenshot we saw just then. I'm not too sure, but Mega Evolution is going to play a part in this game super early, just analysing these screenshots and judging by these screenshots. Next up are a couple of screenshots that were introduced in the June issue of Koro Koro, and it's the use of the Mac Bike and the Acro Bike. The first picture I'm going to show you is the use of the Acro Bike on Route 119, going on the rails using bunny hops and stuff like that to advance on the routes. On the very top left hand corner there's a new TM. I think there's 40 new TMs that have been introduced since Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire, so there's going to be a lot more TMs just in the overworld and stuff like that. But this screenshot mainly just demonstrates that the use of the Acro Bike will be retained and that we can bunny hop and stuff like that, and I know a lot of people are going to be really happy about that. The second screenshot is in the granite cave going up the slopes that only the Mac Bike can go up, and yeah, I'm happy that's been retained, that there's been a little, I don't know, division between the two, that we can use the different features of both of them and to actually advance to areas that we couldn't with both of the bikes. I think it will just open up a whole new world of exploration that we haven't seen since the 3rd generation, and I'm really happy about that. Where this leads to, the screenshot in Granite Cave, I'm not too sure, but I can't wait to find out. Maybe this will lead to a different area, to a new Mega Evolution Stone, or something like that. Later on in Granite Cave, you're going to come across Steven Stone looking at different murals depending on which version of the games you're playing. This screenshot is exclusive to Pokemon Omega Ruby and appears to be Groudon, the new form of Groudon, causing devastation and chaos in the region of Hoenn. There's volcanoes erupting and stuff like that. How this plays into the storyline, we don't know yet. So we'll find out. This is most likely going to be the first encounter of Steven Stone in the story, just like it was in Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire. Even though I've said otherwise through this video, that we might be seeing Steven Stone way before this part of the game to receive our Mega Evolution bangles and stuff like that, the Mega Evolution Stones. This is most likely going to be the first encounter of Steven Stone, and it's going to be his first discussion of Mega Evolution and stuff like that, and different stages of evolution. This second screenshot appears to be Kyogre just causing devastation in Hoenn again. There's not really too much to discuss. There isn't really anything that's, I don't know, being portrayed about the storyline here. They're just interesting pieces of art that's going to be exclusive to each version. Finally, for today's analysis of screenshots that I actually find worthy of analysing and screenshots that I've actually found stuff in that might be of interest to you guys, this is of the protagonist meeting Steven Stone on Route 120, and the most major detail that I can see in this screenshot that's pretty obvious to pretty much everyone is on the very top right of this screenshot. Game Freak have hinted that secret bases will be once again returning due to the little hidden power, I don't know, slot in the wall. And this inclusion is super exciting to me. This is something that I really wanted to return in Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. It's a feature that was exclusive in the most part to Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire. Secret bases did make a return in Pokemon Diamond, Pearl and Platinum, but that's a different story. They had different features and stuff like that. But this is super exciting. This isn't 100% confirmed by Game Freak, but it's just really exciting. I can't wait to see what inclusion secret bases have in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. We'll see. Maybe that'll have something to do with secret with Street Pass or something like that. Getting muddled up on my words. But yeah, it's just really awesome that they hinted towards this. The next screenshot, there isn't really any hints towards that either. All you can see is the Pokeball containing an item. I can't remember what item that featured. It might have been a super potion or something like that. I'm not too sure. But we meet Steven Stone on this route. We probably have to use the item to get past the Kecleon and stuff like that. And it's just really interesting. Secret bases, almost definitely confirmed. And that's amazing. So, today's Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire video was a little bit longer than my other Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire speculation, analysis and news videos, and 300 likes would be super appreciated on this video if you appreciate the length and stuff like that, for another Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire video tomorrow, because I really enjoy making these. So, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Feel free to subscribe so you don't miss any of my other Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire videos in the future. And I will hopefully see you guys tomorrow. Peace out.